The parenting of this generation, does it have a negative effect on our children? A lot of children, when they lost a loved one or a parent or a guardian, they become almost useless because they cannot do anything without their parents. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome. It's yet another episode of God's View podcast with PSJ. Hi there, you're welcome. And thank you so much for all the feedbacks we have been getting from the previous episodes. The love has been amazing. Thank you so, so much. Today we're going to be talking about something really peculiar, a little bit sensitive. Gen Z parenting. This is amazing. I got to realize as a youth leader, I've been a youth leader for over, I think, 8 years now. I've observed something about parenting. I've been with young people. I've been with those who have everything. The parents could provide for them, pay their fees, everything. And I've been with young people who had nothing. And in the side of the country where we are, we face some instability politically, political instability, and so many young people, they went through trauma, they went through, they lost their educational life, they had to leave the village, come to the city, and for a protracted period of time, no education, and you could find them, they are really lost. And I'm really amazed to find out that in the midst of this, you could still find young people come out of that situation and still become something in life. Because some way, somehow, there was a foundation of the parenting that was given to them that made them to thrive through life. Now, with the Gen Z parents, it's amazing. And I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to put it out on anybody's face. I just want us to have a conversation, and each and every one of us will be able, everybody is involved in this conversation, because you may be a child being parented by someone. You may be watching as a parent. You may be watching as a cousin, a sister to someone who is being parented in that way. So you could send this podcast to them, or one thing leading to another, you could learn for the future, you see. So I want us to have this conversation. The parenting of this generation, does it have a negative effect on our children? Every child is your child. The fact that a child came out from your womb doesn't mean that they don't deserve a proper future. Guess what? There are a lot of people who may never become what they were born to be because of the kind of parenting they received. Not because the parents were not available, but maybe because the parents, I said maybe because the parents were too available. When you are too available, this too is in quotes, because you have to be available for your children. You have to show up for them. You have to love them. But when you are too available, it can become a problem. You have to push them to fight. You have to allow them to go through some certain inconveniences. You cannot always take the bullet. You cannot always take the blame. You cannot always cover up everything. Sometimes you have to push them and prepare them for a future. You can attest as a parent that this world is a real place. It's a real world. And we have to come to the reality. You see what you go through to bring food on the table. Sometimes the conditions may not be as favorable for you, but you are covering up because you want your children to have the best. Sometimes some of our parents, they trek to school so that we do not trek to school. But you cannot cover, take all of that to protect your children from it. You must make them to understand that there is a real world that they have to face, and they will go out there and fight, and they have to win. So when I say too available, I mean what I'm saying, because I have seen where children When they make errors, their parents cover for them. The parents don't want them to cry. The parents don't want them to feel any form of discomfort. We are talking about God's View podcast, and we are talking about what does God think about parenting. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. When he grows up, he will not depart from it. You know, the rod of correction the Bible talked about. You must correct your children. You must bring them to order. You must allow them to be disciplined. God himself disciplined us as children because he doesn't want us to be spoiled brats. You know, I'm very aware of so many of our parents who went through so much before they had their children. Some had to wait for 10 years. They went through all kinds of persecution, ridicule from the family, and God finally blessed them with a son or a beautiful daughter or twins, and they want to show them to the world. They want to give them everything. But my dear parent, if you don't protect their destiny, you may lose them forever. You have to discipline them. You have to show them what is right. You have to prepare them for the future. Look at Moses. The Bible says when Moses became of age, by faith he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Who knows? Maybe in the palace, Moses was being pampered. Moses was being treated, you know how people pamper their children. But Moses didn't want that kind of life. He had a calling on his head. He had a destiny. He had to go at the backside of the desert. Moses faced his destiny. And look at who he became. We are talking about Moses today because he refused to allow himself to be over pampered. Don't be too available in your children's life. Allow them to be where they are supposed to be. If they have finished their university, allow them to go look for a job. Let them go look for a job. Yes, of course, you can have some influence and connection that you may give to them, but you also need to allow them to express their gifts and talents. These children belong to God. These children belong to the society. They owe their society a change, and you can't hold it back. And if you keep, being there, don't give them that chance to expect they grow up. And that is why a lot of children, when they lost a loved one or a parent or a guardian, they become almost useless because they cannot do anything without their parents. So, beloved parents, guardians, I want to call on you. Let's do this together. Like I said, every child is your child. And that's what brought me to record this podcast concerning the parenting of our generation. Do everything possible to discipline your children. Give them an opportunity to express themselves. Teach them what is right. Don't prevent them from learning the important things of life. And don't over pamper them to their own detriment. If we do this, I can guarantee you, these children will thank you later. Don't be the reason why your children think they are not doing, much in life because you prevented them from expressing themselves. I want to say thank you so much for watching this podcast. And I know together we are going to achieve so much more in our world in making it a better place. Tell us what you think in the comment section. Let's hear from you. Thank you again for watching and God bless you. Bye.